My name is Tom,
And my name is Haley.
and we're talking about stroke. So, Haley, what is a stroke?
A stroke is when you experience a sudden loss of function within your brain. There are two types of strokes. There's an ischemic stroke, which is a blockage within your brain, and a hemorrhagic stroke is when you experience a rupture of a blood vessel within your brain.
So, what are the symptoms of a stroke?
There are 5 symptoms that are associated with stroke. There's weakness, which is a sudden loss of strength or a sudden numbness in the face, arm, or leg. Trouble speaking with sudden difficulty or understanding or a sudden confusion. Vision problems, headache, which is sudden, severe, and unusual, and dizziness, which is a sudden loss of balance. A quick and easy way to identify someone who is having a stroke is to think fast.
F, you see the person's face drooping. A, weakness in the arm. S, speech difficulty. And T, time to call 911. And what systems are affected by the stroke?
The 2 major systems affected when you experience a stroke are the cardiovascular and the nervous system. While experiencing a stroke, there is a blockage or a rupture of a blood vessel within the brain. Once this happens, you are no longer supplying a portion of your brain with the oxygen and nutrients it needs. This is what causes neurons to die. Neurons are unable to duplicate or repair themselves, which is why you experience brain damage.
Risk factors you can't control: high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, atrial fibrillation, being overweight, diabetes, excessive alcohol consumption, physical inactivity, smoking, and stress. Risk factors you cannot control includes age, gender, family history, and ethnicity. A stroke in the brain leads to the reduction of oxygen supply, which causes mitochondria to produce less ATP. ATP is needed for the reuptake of glutamate in the brain. Glutamate is a neurotransmitter used throughout the central nervous system. An accumulation of glutamate in the brain leads to cell death, as glutamate is very toxic to the brain.
What is glutamate? Glutamate is a neurotransmitter in the brain that plays an important role in the transduction of signals. Glutamate is responsible for mediating information that regulates brain development, determines cellular survival, and differentiates and eliminates nerve contact.
Glutamate works by binding to receptor proteins on nerve cells. Each receptor protein responds in a certain way. Glutamate is taken up by the glial cell and by the nerve terminal. Glutamate has to be in the right concentration in the synaptic cleft because too few or too much glutamate is harmful to the nerve tissue. When you experience a stroke, there's the reduced supply of oxygen. Reduced oxygen increases anaerobic glycolysis. The end product of anaerobic glycolysis is lactic acid. An accumulation of lactic acid leads to the inflammation of nerve tissues. Inflammation attracts leukocytes, and leukocytes produce free radicals in response to the inflammation. Free radicals cause damage to the cell membrane, and in extreme cases, they damage the blood-brain barrier.
What are the treatments for a stroke?
You have 2 options. The first option is TPA, which is a medication. TPA is tissue plasminogen activator, and they are also called clot busters. They break down blood clots in the blood vessels. And the second option is surgery, which involves the repair of damaged blood vessel.